So, Linda Goodman. I started here in St. George's in 2008. I was predestined to come here by my former pastor, who was friends with the present, president 2008 priest. And I didn't really have a choice, but it turned out very well for me. I started out with fellowship when I first got here, because I'm a big cooking person, and that's basically what fellowship is, feeding people. And moved into outreach it's been 2 years ago. I think they kind of go hand in hand, I think, fellowship and outreach. Fellowship is bringing the congregation together, including them in activities, getting them together as a family, as a parish. And outreach is doing the same thing, but with outsiders, bringing the community in and getting involved in families and situations outside the church. So I think they both work well together. Going back to the core people that do a lot, I think that's one place where outreach is lacking. We have good ideas and we have our hearts in it, but it's hard to do what we would like to do, what we would like St. George's to do, if it's just, the four of us. So it's been a struggle, I know, trying to get people involved and be able to do the activities and the missions that we want to do. Hopefully that'll change. Hopefully we'll get some younger people in, newer families, so that they can kind of grow with.
Okay, so I'm Amie Hartland. I came to St. George's with my fiance at that point, Tom, in 2008, right after we had gotten engaged. When we got engaged, we said we needed to find somewhere to have it be a faith family. But it was really important to us to find a place where we were going to be a new family and have people that would accept us as that. A couple years later, along comes kid number one and kid number two, and I couldn't ask for a better group of people to help parent my kids, because they take them in as if they're their own, regardless of how bad the behavior is that day, what crazy antics they do, what they spill, what they eat that they shouldn't eat. It's completely accepted, and you're just one of the whole group. I guess I've been involved in outreach now for maybe 4-5 years, something to that effect, in a smaller role, and then slowly increasing. But the sad part about outreach is it's a very small group of people, and you want to reach out, per the name, to your whole community, whether it be near or far. I mean, our events go as close as hosting Fun with Santa at church, and as far as sending things overseas to troops. But I really hope that we can expand our group of people, even if it's not full time. Come visit us, share your ideas, help sponsor a planned idea, an event, spearhead it with us. That would be awesome. We would welcome the opportunity to bring in some fresh blood.
Hi, I'm Leah Rayburn. I came to this church about close to 3 years ago, 2.5, 3 years ago, after moving to the area and being a part of a church where I lived for over 25 years. And I did a lot of church shopping when I first got up here, and was not, didn't really find a place that I felt like I fit. And so I took a break, and then my kids said, are we going to find a church? And I said yes. And so actually my daughter found St. George's online, and she says, Mom, let's try this place out. This looks pretty cool. And from the minute I walked in, I knew that this was where I wanted to be. It was such a warm welcome, and I just felt at home. And so I started by going to the adult forum, and then kind of working my way into the, and I really wanted to become involved in outreach. And so I talked to Amie and Linda, and they said, sure, come join us. So I did, and it's been a very rewarding for me to get back into that, into giving, especially with the soup kitchen. That was something that I really wanted to be involved in.
Well, you heard the stories of these three ladies and their involvement in the church and how integral they've been to St. George's, particularly with regard to the outreach ministry. And as much as they highlighted St. George's as a place where there is warmth and they find great embrace, they also highlighted some of the challenges with regard to stewardship. We know that outreach is very important to any church because it is really the legs of a church. That is the raison d'etre. That is our reason for being, that we must go out. And a church without outreach is pretty much a museum. And so you hear their plea, and I'm just going to ask them a little more to expand on how people can become more involved in stewardship and really its importance, because if we burn out these three, then who's going to be there? And we need some more involvement. So, ladies.
Well, I'm going to go back to my previous comment of, if you want to participate, it doesn't mean you're giving a life sentence.
Right.
Sign up for a project. If you have a great idea, even if it's something that you lived and breathed in another church or something that you volunteered with, bring it. It's great. We're perfectly happy to have previous ideas. We toss things around all the time that have come from other places, or stories you've heard, or what have you, or what's new in the community. My newest concept for our troops this year is to not just go overseas with it, but to go local. Florida has a VA, not a government-funded VA home. It's just a nonprofit that works with the vets out there, that in lieu of the sending things overseas, not that we're forgetting about our local folks that are deployed and not with us at the moment, but what about the folks that are retired and they don't have someone helping to contribute and what have you at this point? So we're just working with them because they've been completely destroyed down there. So bring ideas, bring.
Yeah, we
What
know
time you
everyone
can.
has other things on their plate. So saying you want to be involved with outreach doesn't mean that you can't skip a meeting, or you can't say, no, I'm not available that day for that event. Because every hand helps. Every hand helps, every idea is a good one. We do that.
Well, and there's certainly two groups of people, whether you look at it from a physical standpoint of you're older or you have health challenges or physical challenges, you can't come and stand and serve. So you'll contribute items or dollars. My grandmother's almost 90 years old. She is a financial supporter. If that woman could be standing there serving the food, there's no doubt in my mind she would do it. It is super important to her. She is absolutely devastated that it's not going to continue. But as Linda said, we're taking off vacation days during the year to try to go do what we wanted to do as an outreach, and it's becoming a huge drain on the individuals. Whereas if we could have a couple other folks, now, we beg, borrow, and plead. We have our core group of backups who will jump in every time and help, but we need to bring in some other people.
Because like you said, we can't burn us out, and we can't burn out the ones that we ask all the time. Or they'll just stop saying yes to us.
Well, I think this speaks to a very important aspect of stewardship, and it is time management. And what I'm hearing from the outreach committee is that you may not be able to be at every function, every meeting. It's impossible, because that would not be good stewardship in and of itself. But if we could get members perhaps to choose one outreach program per year and say, this is the one I'm going to support, then that is where the support is for them, and others can choose another. Say we have 6 programs out there, and maybe 2 people choose each year that this is one thing that they're going to focus on, and they're going to give this one day. It's a program that can flourish in so many ways. And so we're asking for a little time, yes, a little treasure, yes, a little talent, yes. And it doesn't all have to be packaged in one, but it can be shared among the congregation. And so, with that said, the outreach program is here. It's still strong, and yet it needs to be stronger. And this year we are really appealing for people to become part of a ministry that is vital to our existence in church. As we grow older, and I've seen in these past 5.5 years how the congregation has grown age-wise. I know it doesn't look that way because I haven't really matured or grown, but in terms of my looks, but it has grown, and so people are at different spaces at different times in their lives that require different commitments, and that's where we need to bring in new blood. And so this outreach ministry is very, very important, and I want to say thank you to the three ladies and the gent, Jim, who's absent, and Tony at some point in time, who continues to keep it running and going strong. But we need support, St. George's. We need your support, as you've always done. Please come and join and be a part of our outreach ministry. Any final words, ladies?
I just have another thought that came. One of the nice things about being part of a committee is that you have a chance to step aside from the rest of your life to do something outside of that. Reach out to people who need something. Not just, Mommy, I need this, or I need a shower, or I need you to pack my lunch. Give something to people who maybe don't have a voice to ask for it themselves. Step away from the craziness of your own life. Look into the lives of others and see what you can do to try to help. Because what you will take with that, regardless of the stress of how am I going to fit this extra project in, what am I going to do with being home late or being away from this or that, it's so much greater than what you might be stepping aside from. That's my closing thought.